students, welcome back. In this video, we will look on how to solve the multiple choice questions through the IELTS exam. So usually you need to choose only one correct answer for most of the questions. However, some MCQ questions give a longer list of possible answers and you have to choose more than one answer. The MCQs actually test the capability of the student to understand the mean or specific points regarding the recording that is being played. The MCQs are found challenging by many of the students, and it is very easy to lose marks if you do not know how to do them. So there are certain tips which I would like to share for solving the multiple choice questions. If you find multiple choice questions difficult, give them a thorough read, understanding the gist of each option whenever you are reading them. If there are many multiple choice questions which come all together, for example in section 4, when around 10 multiple choice questions come together, it is sometimes very difficult to understand them during the time preceding section 4. So it is better to look at the multiple choice questions at the beginning of the exam, which I discussed in my initial introduction video. If you have time, you can read through the questions followed by the options and grasp the gist of both. As you run out of time, then read through the questions only and leave the options behind. You can read the options later on along with the recording. When you are reading through the questions and the options, you must identify and memorize 1 to 2 keywords so that you can easily track them during the recording. This is also helpful if you have missed a question and the recording is playing beyond these keywords. At this point, you must drop that question or make an educated guess and mark the answer and proceed to the next question. Otherwise, you will miss a lot of questions as you thought that the recording is still behind. If you don't have time, it's better to read and grasp the gist of the question only, and then start reading the options with the time you are left with. Now, you must identify and memorize 1 to 2 keywords in the question stem only, and track them during the recording. All options will be addressed in the speech, and the meaning may be nearly correct, but that will not be the answer. The answer will be only the option with the identical meaning. So this is a trick by which the IELTS exam tests your capability of understanding the multiple options in the multiple choice questions. We will see one example at the end of this video. You can even save time by not checking your answers from previous sections if you feel that they are correct at the end of a section. This is an announcement which sounds like,
that is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
so we have seen some of the tips, and now I would want you to go through an example of how to do it. So these are some of the questions, and I have taken these multiple choice questions from the Cambridge website, and we have around questions 36 to 40 here. I have marked some of the keywords in these questions and the options. So I would like you to walk through these questions. So we initially discussed that if you have enough time, you must read the questions and the options and mark keywords in both. So here, in question number 36, the question says that we are all present hedonist, and hedonist has been marked as a keyword. The options include at school, at birth, and while eating and drinking, and I have marked each of them as a keyword. Now what is important is that when the recording is going on, we must pay attention to when these keywords appear in the recording. In question number 37, I have marked American boys drop out of school as a phrase or a keyword, and I would wait for this phrase to be spoken during the recording. Then we have 3 options here regarding the American boys dropout. The first is that they need to be in control of the way they learn. The second is that they play video games a lot. That is the reason. And the third says that they are not as intelligent as girls. Then we have question number 38, in which we are discussing features of present-oriented children. Here, option A says they do not realize present actions and can have negative future effects. So I have marked negative future effects as a keyword. Then option B says that they are unable to learn lessons from the past mistakes. This past mistakes has been marked as a keyword. Option C says that they know what could happen if they do something bad, but they do it anyway. Then we come to question number 39. If Americans had an extra day per week, they would spend it as, and I have marked Americans had an extra day per week as a keyword. And these are three things that would be the answer. First one being working harder, the second one being building relationships, and the third one being sharing family meals. Then we come to the last question. Question number 40 says understanding how people think about time can help us in either of these three ways. Number A says that it can help us in becoming more virtuous, or it can help us work together better, or identify careless or ambitious people. So one of these three has to be the answer. Now we play the recording and we see how we mark the answers.
You might ask, how do these time zones affect our lives? Well, let's start at the beginning. Everyone is brought into this world as a present hedonist. No exception.
Now you can see that the recording says that everyone is brought into this world as a present hedonist. This means that the answer should be B. Beware that in the recording there can be synonyms or phrases which have meaning identical to some phrases or words in the options given. However, the actual words might be different. This is very important for you to mark the answers correctly and not to get them wrong.
Exceptions. Our initial needs and demands to be warm, secure, fed, and watered all stem from the present moment. But things change when we enter formal education. We're taught to stop existing in the moment and to begin thinking about future outcomes. But did you know that every 9 seconds a child in the USA drops out of school? For boys, the rate is much higher than for girls. We could easily say, well, boys just aren't as bright as girls. But the evidence doesn't support this. A recent study states that boys in America, by the age of 21, have spent 10,000 hours playing video games. The research suggests that they'll never fit in the traditional classroom because these boys require a situation where they have the ability to manage their own learning environment. Now, let's look at the way we do.
So this is a very important and a tricky question. Here the recording discusses all the three options that can be potential answers. The recording says that the dropout rate might be affected because the boys need a situation in which they have control. The recording does discuss playing video games or that the girls are more intelligent than boys, but it does not give these as the actual answer. The actual answer, therefore, is A.
Prevention education. All prevention education is aimed at a future time zone. We say, don't smoke or you'll get cancer. Get good grades or you won't get a good job. But with present-orientated kids, that just doesn't work. Although they understand the potentially negative consequences of their actions, they persist with the behavior because they're not living for the future. They're in the moment right now.
This is also a very important question in which the recording discusses the options as potential answers. So the recording refutes the option A that says that they do not realize present actions can have negative future effects. In contrast, the present-oriented children know that what negative future effects can the present actions have. However, the recording says that they do not care about it, which makes option C as the answer.
We can't use logic, and it's no use reminding them of potential fallout from their decisions or previous errors of judgment. We've got to get in their minds just as they're about to make a choice. Time perspectives make a big difference in how we value and use our time. When Americans are asked how busy they are, the vast majority report being busier than ever before. They admit to sacrificing their relationships, personal time, and a good night's sleep for their success. 20 years ago, 60% of Americans had sit-down dinners with their families, and now only 20% do. But when they're asked what they would do with an 8-day week, they say, oh, that'd be great. They would spend that time laboring away to achieve more. They're constantly trying to get ahead.
Now, the recording says that what would Americans do if they had an extra day per week? And then the recording uses synonyms of laboring to answer these questions, which makes option A as the answer.
To get toward a future point of happiness. So, it's really important to be aware of how other people think about time. We tend to think, oh, that person's really irresponsible, or that guy's power hungry. But often, what we're looking at is not fundamental differences of personality, but really just different ways of thinking about time. Seeing these conflicts as differences in time perspective, rather than distinctions of character, can facilitate more effective cooperation between people and get the most out of each person's individual strengths.
Now here, the recording says that the time can benefit us if in cooperating with each other. This is also a synonym, which makes option B as the answer. So these were some of the tips and tricks which I wanted to discuss for the multiple choice questions. I hope that you found them useful. I would like you to subscribe to my channel if you have not already subscribed to stay tuned to the upcoming new videos. Thank you.